Good morning, guys. It is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Wednesday morning, 15th October, rolling on through. Let's get rocking and rolling on this. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the profile real quick from yesterday when we were coming into the day. And there's a couple of important things going on. So, first of all, let's get this nice and big so we can see it. Okay, so there's a couple of key principles I've been trying to get through to everyone. The first one is when you're inside a prior day's fair value area, which is the blue area, it's very easy to trade through that location, right? That's number one. Number two, we are looking for areas where there's well-defined single prints, right? Which is why we have these areas marked off. Um, uh, some would call them low volume nodes, but these areas were so widespread out that you kind of had to be pretty careful how you were picking what you were calling a low volume node, right? So at any rate, this was the chart from the 14th. The 24 495 is what we had marked off. And if you'll notice, the key areas here are Friday's value area low and Friday's value area high, which is 25014 and 24416. I think if we clear that 25014, there's plenty of room to re-auction back to the upside and return back to the scene of the crime, which if you open this up, that 25400 is a return to the scene of the crime. It's hard to imagine that we're not going to come back and retest that at some point. Okay. And obviously, in order to go lower, we need to take out the low, which is off a little bit here, but 24378 roughly. I have it off. And then you'll also notice that we came back from a Fibonacci standpoint. This is yesterday's PA, so this is what the chart looked like yesterday. And you can see we're still hovering right between the 50 and 62 retrace. And we're just freely traveling through this area, right? You can see how it, right? So this is the area where I said it would have had more difficult time traveling through easily. You can see that it kind of had a push through there. Once we got above 24,828, you can see it kind of traveled all the way through to 24,953, and then rejected out of there. This is some kind of news event there. At the end of the day, President Trump said something. But you can see it came out of resistance, right? It came out of the prior day's value area high and unfair pricing right here at the edge. So that's the beginning part of understanding how the market unfolded. What you want to do is take this information and translate it into a tradable process. So we go from this chart, right, and then we combine our hourly support and resistance, which I'm not going to go over this morning. But if you look, this was the end product for yesterday's charts. This is what I pulled up. So coming in on the day, this is what you would have been looking at, with this area in general being your support area, this area in general being your resistance area. The pink would have been the prior day's value area. I want to go, well, that was prior day's value area low. This is prior day's value area high. This is what I'm pointing to. Value area high, value area low. This is VWAP coming in on the day. Again, my VWAP resets at 7 a.m. So if you wanted to extend that out, you kind of would have drawn an angle like this, and you would have extended it out to kind of get a moving average, which is essentially what it is. So you can see when we came in at 844. So now go look at the big picture, right? You can see that 495 to 416 did act as support, right? And then we came right up, and you'll see we came right into that moving average of the prior day's VWAP. That's that blue line right there. And into resistance, we rejected out of that area. And where we're headed, right? You can see once we got above prior day's value area low, and then eventually we're going to make it to prior day's value area high. And you'll see each of these areas are pretty specific locations where we're looking for trades to set up. You can see we came back into support, acted as support, and then they broke down and they came back, right, back to the RTH, regular trading hours. VWAP, we danced around it and found some responsive buying. Okay, so that's what almost everyone on the internet provides for you in terms of anyone can do that. If you read Mind Over Markets by Dalton and you practice, almost anyone can set up these zones. There's really not any kind of special skill set other than seat time and knowing what works and what doesn't work, right? Here's what sets our room apart, right? And that is the blue and the white, orange, green, white, and orange. I think I'm leaving any colors out, bars, and the squares that are underneath them. So this is what I want to focus on so you can help your trading day. Now I'm going to show both long and short, but I strongly suggest, even though the volatility is great right now, if you have a difficult time trading both sides of the market, you focus on the long side of the trade. Okay, and so there's a couple principles behind that, so it makes it easier for you to make money. The first one is longs are easier when you're trading above the 100, when you're trading above VWAP, and if you can, also be trading above the 200. That's the first principle, right? So if you look and you try to go, and so that's principle one. Principle two is if you're underneath those things, you certainly want to be inside support, but it's easier, so it's easier above, right? And if you're not above, it's easier in support. And the third one is skipping the first half hour makes your entire day easier, if not the entire first hour. And there's plenty of money to be made after all of that. Okay, so those are the two core principles we're operating of. I'm trading in support, right? I'm trading above the 100, 200, and VWAP, and I have momentum on my side. Those are the two principles, right? So next, if I enter a trade, I want to enter a trade. My first minimum is I'd like a green bar, a white bar, or an orange bar. First principle, okay? Stronger principle is underneath that bar, I would like a blue square. You won't always get it. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. Second layout. Orange bar. Orange bar. Green bar. Now there's a white bar in here somewhere. White bar down. There's a white bar up in here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's floating around here. Okay, green bar, orange bar. Okay, so the next thing we're looking for are the squares. Blue squares underneath the bar for longs, white squares above for the shorts. The better squares have a square within a square, a square within a square, a green bar and a purple bar. There are times where you will want the long or you will want the short, and the everything we want won't show up, right? There are periods of times, because we can't get enough concentrated volume, that the blue square and green square will not show up. That's just part of the deal. There's not much you can do about it, okay? And it doesn't matter because you get it so much of the time that you're good. So now I'm just going to go through and on the long side, I'm going to show the winners and losers, and I'm going to concentrate, because we're definitely getting them, on the bars with the squares, and I want them on the turn. What does the turn mean? It means I have at least 3 bars down in a row. 1, 2, 3. So let me erase my lines. I'm going to give you definitions. 1, 2, I have 3 bars down. I get a bar on the turn that has a color, and underneath that bar I have a square. That's what I'm going to focus on this morning. It can be on the second bar. The further up in the column you are, the higher the risk the trade is. I suggest the swing as the most conservative stop. It'll keep you in the most amount of trades. It also has the highest cost for staying in the trade, so obviously the majority of the people want to stay in the rim. Now, let's go through, and we'll do all of it, right? We'll go through and just show the bars with the squares on the turn, and we'll just go from the beginning of the day and move forward, even though I strongly suggest you skip the first part of the day. So, and this is the reason why. Green bar with blue and orange square. Stop. Blue bar. You may have scalped out of that, but I doubt it. Let's call it a stop. Okay. Green bar with blue square on the turn. That's at 8:45, but it's a 1 bar down. Again, that's a pretty easy hard pass. I'm going to do the longs first and the shorts second. So your next trade is right there, as I pointed out. That's at 8:58, and most of the people in the room, you should have skipped that, right? So here we come to the rest of the day. Now, if you'll notice, we're now above the 100, the 200, and VWAP. You now have 3 bars down. This was on the second bar up. You can see that 1 bar held and pushed. The focus is on the first bar. Okay, so none of this. Nope, nope. That's on the 3rd bar up. You can take it. That's up to you. But to have the best portion of this process, you want 3 bars down. Now, here's where some people may get frustrated. Let me show this, okay? We are up into resistance. See that? We are up into resistance. We've already moved a lot. You want a pullback, okay? I don't care if this shows a stop. I'm fine with it. But I would never go long inside resistance like this for a couple of points. I either want to be above resistance and push back in, or below and push back up, okay? Very simple. I do not want to trade long when I've already hit my up target, right? My idea here would be from a large perspective, right? From a large perspective, I went long down here some way, somehow, and I got up in here, okay? So when I'm up in there, I do not want to find new ways to go long, okay? Now, as I'm going through here, and I was here yesterday morning before I left, and I could not get the handle on a long side trade in here, okay? I don't care because I get them often enough where I will get paid. So let me continue with this, okay? Go through the day. This is perfect. See how 10:44 we broke above? I already shut off my computers. I was down in Galveston, turning around to make the trip back. Push down. I would have loved a square down here. Now, do you have to wait for a square there? No, that has everything you're looking for. It's in support, green bar, yellow dot. But if your trade plan says, I trade with a square underneath there, or I don't trade, then you don't take that trade. Make it as black and white as possible so you can stay on a process. Your goal doesn't have to be to trade all day, okay? Up into resistance over here. It's 12 o'clock. There's your first trade. That's your target up. Your entry was 24,901, and it took you to 24,923, okay? 01 to 23 is $400 a contract. I don't know how much money you need to make, and I'll cover the shorts in just a second, but that made people plenty of money. And you'll also notice, all right, the orange bars on the turn. Is it for everyone? No. Some people can't concentrate on multiple different trades, but the orange bar and the green bars on the turn are just fine as long as you're getting multiple bars down in a row and you're not chasing, right? So there's one. Here's where we come to the roll down, right? This is when the news hits the tape. Out of resistance, now we're into support. Okay, this is going into the close. Here's 1445. This blue bar, purple square, stop at the low. That was at 1438. I have no idea how fast the market was here. I was not here when this is occurring, but it looks like there was time to enter the trade. It rolls you from 24,773. I'm eyeballing it up to 24,828. That's a 50-point trade right there. Okay, it was on the second bar of the turn. The orange bar was first. Next, we're a little bit below VWAP, but we're way stretched. So I want to point something out. If your trade plan says I've got to be above the blue and the gold and the VWAP, I've got no problem with that. You just don't trade here. It's not about what I say. It's about what you can do, right? I'm going to say that again. It's not about what I say. It's not about what I can trade. It's what you can do. What can your brain focus on? For a lot of people in the room, they go, I want blue square. I want green bar or better up. And that's all I trade. For other people in the room, they're like, hey, if I get an orange bar on the turn, I'm giddy up time, right? Some people say, I want to be above the 100, the 200, and VWAP, and green bar alone is enough. It doesn't much matter to me what you do, as long as you follow a process, because when I'm coaching you or I'm helping you, only through following a consistent process can I get you on track to help you make money. That's it, right? There's nothing psychological about this. I'm either following a process or I'm not, right? Very, very simple, black and white. Follow the process. So now as you come through over here, right? Blue bar, green square. That's roughly 24,695. And by the close, you pushed a 782. So that's a lot of money, if you ask me, right? And you didn't have to trade first thing in the morning to get any of that. Now let's go look at the shorts real quick, okay? Because there are people who are short crazy, especially when the volatility erupts. Again, here we go. 838, white bar, white square down. Orange bar, white bar down. You're above, so here's the challenge with shorting here. You're above VWAP, 200, the 100. Stopped, white bar, white square. Stopped, purple bar, white square. When you break above that VWAP, shorting's a really bad idea. This was pretty much picture perfect. What you wanted for the long. Now, here's where I would have looked for the short, but again, I think on the shorts you're going to get stopped about 50% more of the time than you are on the longs. Purple bar, green bar, and you had to come back at it a third time. That was a tough sequence on the shorts, but hey, if you want to short, be my guest. You were in resistance, right? You get up into resistance. And again, the white bar down alone doesn't solve it either. White bar stopped, white bar stuff. I'm telling you, the short is so much harder, especially when you're above all of these, okay? Unless you're swinging out of this area. You could have just said, hey, this whole thing is my short area. But who the heck wants to short a 100-point range? I don't. Okay, white bar down, just showing you what fires. White bar, white square down, right? A little bit better. Gives you the roll to the downside. We can't forget this white square down stopped you. You're right on the 100. I don't know why the heck you would have shorted that. Stop on the white square. There's a reason why I tell people, you know, shorts require much more detail-oriented, much more momentum to work. Orange bar, blue square. Actually, that's on the wrong side. I want to be clear on this. This square needs to be on top in order for the short to be effective, in my opinion, or the long needs to be underneath. White bar, purple square, white bar, white square. Again, underneath this is a totally different story, and I'll go back and show you. White bar, white square, that's on the second one down. And you can just see the shorts were just, I think they were really hard. I don't think there was any reason to press the shorts yesterday. And then you needed President Trump's help to get that roll to the downside. Something about cooking oil wiped a bunch of value off of the chart, right? So, and then let me show you where the shorts work really nicely here. Let me flip this around so that you can see. See how we're under, so this goes to Tuesday night, under VWAP, under the 200, under the 100, right? And you're going to see quite a big distinction in how these work and how much easier it is to get paid. And the shoe's going to flip, right? The longs get harder and the shorts get easier. So white bar down, right? White bar with purple square, white bar on the turn, stopped, right? White bar down, it becomes much easier. White bar down, all of that pays you overnight. Okay, see how we finally got above here into the cradle. Wait till we're underneath everything again. There, we're underneath. You don't have to worry about missing this. No big deal. You're going to get a shot at this to the downside. 642. That's, oh, there it is right there. Underneath the 100, underneath the 200. White bar, white square down, white bar down on the turn. Get above the 200. See, as soon as you get above the 200, they get harder. Just stop. Underneath again, nothing, nothing, nothing. 830. There's your roll to the downside. White bar, white square down. So, again, this is easy. Below the 100 and the 200, shorts become much easier. You have all the momentum in your direction. Now you can pinpoint your location. That distinguishes us from general, where's the market going up and down. And above the blue squares, it doesn't work perfectly, but it works a lot. So that's my 2 cents. that's the trade review from yesterday. I thought the longs were, if you look at this yesterday here, I thought the longs were pretty good in general once you're above the 100 and 200, particularly in this area here. So I want to finish with one last piece, right? Determine what you're going to use, right? If you're above the 100 here and the 200 and you have all the momentum, this is fine. Just like when you're um, just like when you are above all three of these, meaning VWAP, the 200 and the 100, the green bars are going to work better. The variations on the green bars are going to work better. The shorts, no matter how good the signal is, are going to be harder, right? So my suggestion is you prioritize which bars you want. Green bar, orange bar, white bar, all good. Squares underneath them, better. On the turn with the squares and a double square, meaning like this, much better. The second place is out of support. That's what you're looking for the trade. But again, even within support, when you're underneath all three of these, you're going to need some patience. And because it is a harder trade coming out of support. And what I mean by that is if you look here and said, oh, we're going to go up, right? And you said, okay, I'm waiting for my pullback. And again, this is the first half hour, right? Stop, stop, paid, that eventually stopped. And you notice that you don't start gaining traction, right, until you're above the 100, then above VWAP and the 200. And those were the two trades, these two right here. All you needed to have a great day. If you waited till after 9 o'clock, right, here you are at 9 o'clock, green bar up, green bar, blue square. You need to use the swing to make sure you stay in that trade. If you're going to do the second and third bars up, green bar on the turn, and green bar second bar there, right? And by the way, you'll see that went about 15 points and came back and just stopped you out, trapped you back in. You have to take the green bar again. And I am not taking the third and fourth green bar up, guys. If it's just a green bar, it's on the turn or it's not a trade. Pretty simple for me, right? And if I was going to take it in the column, I want to be very clear about this. If I was going to take it in the column, I would have to be above all three of these, and it'd have to look like this. And so just so you're clear, right? In the column above all three, stop, win, 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 win. Barely above. You could have scalped your way out of that. Barely above. And then you're underneath two of the three right there. And that's your sign to pause. Right there. Just wait it out. If you want to trade inside support, this was good to go. Again, the stop needed to be right here, in my opinion. And then the next one was obviously this one, that was just a pretty drastic fall if you're looking for the turn there at the end of the day. Okay, I'm all done. Let's go have a great day. That should be priming your brain for what you're looking at for today. So if you flip to today, right, and you look at what we're looking at, right, here's the overnight. We're currently sitting above the 100, excuse me, VWAP. 200 and 100 are all in bullish buy modes, and there is no econ today. I hope they get a sell program in there so I can find a way to buy. I would drop your 50-60s, and you can see where I'll be looking for potential support and resistance areas. This is, by the way, these light blue lines is where yesterday's TPO and POC are sitting, so hopefully a nice little dip back in there.